A very good evening to you. Thanks for clicking on to this UK and Europe video blog for this evening. The time is around 8:30 PM here on the 16th of November, and after a pretty frosty start across the majority of, well, I'm saying the majority of Scotland, we actually seen widespread clear skies overnight, and we've seen kind of wee pockets of frost form. I was quite interested when I left the house this morning around 1:30, and it wasn't actually frost. It was pretty chilly, and as well as that, there was kind of a heavy dew formed in the cars. But actually, I was surprised when I drove south of Glasgow at the back at 2 o'clock this morning, and the temperature just dropped off down to freezing, and actually dropped to -2 around the Douglas area in South Lanarkshire. That's about, somewhere around maybe 25 to 30 miles south of Glasgow. The place was white with frost, so it was a decently chilly morning for sure across areas of Scotland. Wee pockets. And I think where the frost never formed yet, we're still seeing clear skies. I think the reason for that was there was a bit of motion in the air. Indeed, those winds tend to mix the atmosphere and holding the temperatures above freezing, but where the air was able to settle and sink into little valleys and nooks, particularly across some highland glens, the temperature can drop off a few degrees below freezing. But I'll tell you what, folks, I'm struggling to continue to talk about the pattern across Europe. It's very, very stuck in place, persistent, and very, very little change. In fact, I think I'm struggling to get motivated. I think these days with the pattern being so persistent. I know you are getting tired of the mild conditions, and you're wondering where winter is. I continue to urge you to stay patient. Winter will arrive here across the UK and western parts of Europe, and we're seeing a couple of subtle changes over the next 24 hours. We've got a slight weakening of the ridge that's been so dominant, so persistent over the UK, over the majority of Europe, holding temperatures well above normal, and we're going to be seeing a front moving off the Atlantic. The low pressures themselves are remaining off the UK and Ireland. The reason being, of course, that blocking high pressure is deflecting, holding off those lows from progressing eastwards across the UK and Ireland. So it's a continuously stuck in place pattern. But what we will see is we're going to be seeing a front move through over the course of tonight. We're going to see winds freshen up from the south. South again, mild conditions. It's going to be a lot milder than it was last night. We're going to be seeing temperatures probably 7 to 10 Celsius overnight. Wouldn't be surprised actually if there was one or two spots that was maybe 11 Celsius, particularly across central and southern parts of England and Wales as well. But we're going to be seeing the front move through. We're going to see a fairly wet overnight across Scotland and perhaps the north of England as well, remaining drier but cloudier across more southern parts of the UK. Once that rattles through, we're going to see breaks in the cloud. Tomorrow we're going to see outbreaks of sunshine as well. It's going to be a fairly decent day, albeit there might be a bit of a breeze blowing from the south, making it feel slightly cooler. Temperatures probably tomorrow around 10 or 11 Celsius. Fairly close to average for this time of year. We've lost the very mild conditions. However, by Friday it looks as if a next band of rain and increasing wind is going to move in from Ireland, so the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, all the way into western Scotland. We're going to see a band of very probably quite heavy and persistent rain. There's going to be times where it's going to be heavier impulses of rain moving along that boundary. As it pushes east, we're going to see winds strengthen, pretty blowy across inland areas, probably gales along the coastline. But at the moment, folks, we continue to see this high pressure dominate, and I don't really see any change in the next 5 to 7 days. Now, later into next week, around the 24th or 25th of November, the models have been hinting a trough, trying to push its way into the UK and western parts of the mainland of Europe. But it's back and forth. The models can't decide what's going to happen. And I'll be honest with you, continuously, and I've said this time and time again, I'm really not seeing anything really substantial in terms of cold for the rest of this month. We might see a turn to cooler conditions by the mid to latter part of next week into next weekend. Could we be seeing temperatures maybe 4 or 5 Celsius by day, below freezing at night? Very, very difficult one to say at the moment. The models are just too indecisive at the moment as to whether we're going to see this cooler push of air off Iceland and Greenland. But certainly it's not going to be a cold pattern by next weekend by any means. It's going to be chillier perhaps, but the high pressure itself remains dominant across central and northern parts of Europe. Don't see a breakdown in the pattern, but take heart, folks. I continuously believe that we're going to be seeing a flip to a negative North Atlantic oscillation. What that means is high pressure blocking over the North Atlantic and Greenland. And what that will do is that will allow that door to open out of the north and the east for very cold air to then push down from Siberia, from Scandinavia. I'm looking at the change once the 1st of December begins. I think I'm going to be continuously watching that North Atlantic to see if we can see the high pressure building over the region. But at the moment, I don't see any change. I continuously see the milder conditions persist. When there's clear skies, we're going to be seeing some frosty conditions across more sheltered areas. But just take heart, folks, that winter will arrive eventually, and we will continue to keep you posted. Keep checking the blog, and I'll keep you up to date as to what's happening. Hope you have a great evening, folks. Bye for now.